one of our top stories tonight. The U.S. Senate on Monday began voting on a massive spending plan dubbed Big Beautiful Bill. It is coming after weeks of contentious negotiations. While the Republicans who control both chambers of Congress were divided over how much to cut welfare program in order to extend tax breaks, President Donald Trump wants Congress to pass the bill by July the 4th, which is in commemoration of U.S. independence anniversary. After the House of Representatives passed its version of the bill last month by a single vote, the legislation went to the Senate, where it has now been subjected to voting. World Politics Analyst Joi John of the Belcrest Institute, Washington, D.C., joins us for more insight on this. Thank you very much for giving us your time. For a moment, Republicans were divided on the bill, but now it's being put to the vote at the Senate. What has changed, especially about the question of how much to cut in welfare program in order to extend tax breaks?
Thanks for having me. So, well, what we've seen over the past several days is classic Hill negotiations, intense behind-the-scenes discussions to bring a divided caucus back in line. The Republicans were split over how deep to cut social support programs. And what led to the change we see now is a series of those quiet concessions and scaled-back trims to the bill. When these adjustments were made, it gave the moderates some cover. And by moderates, I mean, I refer to those Republicans who had consistently voiced concerns over the cuts. So it led to the balance that moved the bill forward.
Walk us through the process it could take from the commencement of Monday's vote until the bill is passed for the president's assent, since he wants it by July 4th. How realistic is that?
The short answer is not impossible. I have to tell you that there are still a few procedural hurdles at this time. The Senate ultimately holds a final vote after the amendment process. If it passes, it goes back to the House. Speaker Mike Johnson has signaled readiness to, swiftly act on the vote. And if there's no need for reconciliation, it moves directly to the president, who has that constitutional authority to sign it into law or to veto it. The president's approval is the final step of where we are now for the bill to become law. Given the administration's clear support, I think a timely signature is expected, allowing the bill to take effect as planned. But in practical terms, the July 4th timeline is tight, but I think it's still within reach with a coordinated floor management in both houses, of the Senate and the House.
Yeah, with Trump, you never know, and that's the consensus, that it is a tight one. The version of the bill, though, that the House passed in a single vote has undergone amendments before the Senate vote, even though, on the whole, it runs into 1,000 pages. The real question some are yet to get answers for is, what exactly is the bill trying to fix that is in a bad shape?
That's a beautiful question for this one big, beautiful bill. But the main goal of this bill is to lock in the tax structure put in place in the 2017 law, and that law is called the Tax Cuts and Job Acts, which was signed into law in December of 2017. It's set to expire. So it aims to control long-term federal spending, especially in programs like Medicaid. The bill also includes measures on border security, energy incentives, and family tax credits. So overall, it bundles key Republican fiscal priorities in one comprehensive package. That's why it's called the Big, Beautiful Bill.
I'm curious, though, how worried are you about the $5 trillion in new borrowing, which the bill authorizes, also because it will add to the growing U.S. debt load? Elon Musk and Donald Trump fell out on this. Your thoughts, please.
How worried am I? It's Let me shift away from my personal take on this, but I will say that the Congressional Budget Office estimates that 3 trillion, we're looking at a deficit of about 3 trillion US dollars. And that reflects tax extensions and spending adjustments. Supporters of the bill argue or highlight the potential economic growth to help balance these costs. But others emphasize the importance of ongoing discussions about fiscal responsibility. So this will be a key focus for the lawmakers that we have as they move forward. And you want to look at the numbers we have for the Democrats and the Republicans. The majority will mostly have to say, but it's something that they have to sit down and analyze as they move forward with this.
What sort of real oversight should Congress provide at this time, especially seeing how both chambers are dominated by the Republican Party? Is that a good thing at this time?
Effective oversight is essential, I can tell you, and even under a unified control. The Congress is expected to monitor implementation closely, especially how the agencies apply the provisions of the law. So, and in doing so, it includes transparency in spending, adherence to the timelines, and ensuring that outcomes align with the legislative intent. So, oversight ensures the public trust, and regardless of which party holds the majority, be it the Republicans or the Democrats.
Okay, I guess that's a good place to leave it for now. Thank you for speaking with us. We appreciate your time.
Thanks for having me.